Yeah, a man who collected 3 Premier Leagues, 2 FA Cups, 1 League Cup and a European Cup Winners' Cup as a player and achieved an incredible 4 promotions to the Premier League as a manager. It's a very good morning to Steve Bruce. Morning, Steve.
Good morning. Good morning, Cass. Good morning.
Of course, this is a reunion, isn't it? Gillingham old boys, because you were there together.
Do you know it was that long ago? I can hardly remember it was that long ago,
Yeah.
but I remember getting beaten up by Cass in a reserve game, and I think Keith Peacock was at the time giving him a contract. And I do believe the transfer fee was 12 tracksuits or something, wasn't it? Who, the Crockenhill or something?
Crockenhill, yeah.
Yeah, Crockenhill, wow.
Crockenhill. I came along and I turned up with a plastic bag and a pair of boots, and it was a trial for a day.
Yeah.
And the sponge man at Crockenhill was Keith Peacock's brother-in-law.
Oh,
and
really?
that was the connection, and he just invited me along, and I signed a year's deal, I think, the next day, and I was so raw, as you know, Brucey. Yeah. I was so... And I've talked about goal scoring, because we talked about your ability to get goals, and I said, he's easily been a centre forward. You could have, Brucey.
Well,
I
could head it, but I wasn't so great with me back to goal, I have to say, and I wasn't blessed with enormous pace either. But I used to play up around there when I was a kid, and I only got moved back when I went 17, 18 to Gillingham. Bill Collins moved me back over, and my career started to go after that. So I became a centre back, but I'd be disappointed if I didn't get 8-10 goals a season.
We said you got 19.
To be fair, Brucey.
By the way, I'm going to tell you something. I got 20 really, because if you watch the Barcelona, Mark Hughes nicked one off me of the line, and the late Jimmy Greaves said as an instant, John, if I was a striker, I'd take that goal, But I still think it was one of the worst moments when I remember scoring the goal and looking up on the scoreboard, and Man United 1, Barcelona 0, Hughes 63 minutes. So hang on a minute, it mixed me up with Mark Hughes. Where's that come from? But
by the way,
Hughesy nicked it.
He did. By the way, your nose would have been a bit more happier without getting so many goals.
Never
you took a few broken noses. I had 3. How many times did you break your nose?
There was that many in the end. It just, you give up with it, don't you? The old sponge came out, and it wasn't like today either. I mean, when you talk about blood bins and all the rest, and you have to go off, I don't think I would have got 90 minutes in a pitch, really. It happened that often where you get a cut and just get on with it.
I'll ask the same question to both of you. So when you were at Gillingham, did you think that Cass would go on to play 80-odd times the Republic of Ireland and be a Premier League player?
Well, I didn't know where the Irish thing came from to start with.
No.
And nor did anybody else, to be brutally honest. But he did go on and play and have a really good career. And he was a.
You're not answering the question, are you? Did you think he would?
I didn't think he would, but he had a real rawness when he first came to Gillingham, and that's what really, really probably got him the move to Gillingham, because he had a rawness and he had a bit of pace for it in the left foot, and he went on to achieve great stuff. But when he was first that rawness, what got him the deal probably, he had to smooth himself up a little bit. Is that the best way of putting it?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
What about Brucey then, Cass? Did you think he would go on to be a Premier League winning captain?
Well, I always knew he was far too good for the level. We all knew that. Brucey was in Team of the Year nearly every year. Would that be right, Brucey, for the centre-half position?
Yep.
In the league, it's League 1 now, but it was the old Division 3. We all knew that Brucey had certainly way higher technical ability to play that level. So, when he went to Man United, I thought, cool, that's a big one, be a challenge for him. But Steve was... I know he's sitting here and he's opposite me, but I'd say this if he wasn't here. Steve was very gifted at reading situations. He used to do what Kevin Moran would do all the time, is block centre forwards, so he never got caught with his pace, which he did brilliantly well. And look, he grew as a player. We all grow. And we have difficult times as well, don't we? I had a couple of times in my career where it was really, really tricky. Jeff, you didn't play well. You get questioned, rightly so. But that's standard that Steve ended up. He ended up winning the lot with Man United, so fair play.
So you had a bit of time out, Steve. What have you been doing with yourself? Are you enjoying it?
Well, Jeff, I've just as we're all fair there, I've just said I've given myself a year off at least to really have a good look, and it's the first time I've been off for a year, and I think something like 46 years, and I've missed it in the last couple of months in particular. Saturday comes along and it's not quite the same. So
yeah, I find that.
Yeah, I bet you do. It's not quite the same. And however, if it is the end, and how fortunate have I been? I've started in 1976 and gone on to this long. maybe there's still something there for me. If the right opportunity comes along, I'm looking to try and do something, whether it's on the coalface and management. I hope so, but we'll see what comes along.
I was going to say to you, Steve, because I always knew your love of Newcastle, because it was very obvious straight away, you know, where your Mrs. Janet comes from, yourself, and your love for being a fan, being on the terraces, and it was a difficult time, but I'm sure even today you're still so proud to manage that football club.
Look, I've managed Newcastle for 2.5 years, and Cass, you're right, it wasn't easy. You know, pandemics were going along as well. That didn't help either, but is a different Newcastle to what it is today, and you know, I think finishing 12th and 13th, you did your job, because Newcastle then, the remit was keep Newcastle in the Premier League, like the bottom half of the Premier League is now, and we all know who these teams are. Newcastle was one of them. Now all of a sudden, a different environment and different pressures, of course, with Eddie. You've now got to try and force yourself, and Eddie's had a remarkable run last year to get into the Champions League, and it's not gone so well this year. He's probably been the victim of his own success, but I still wish the club the best of luck. It's a great football club, and I've had the pleasure to manage it for 2.5 years, even though it was very, very difficult.
I've got a text from somebody who about a different club that you manage, and this is Villa. Lee in Stourbridge. Jeff, I'd like to pass on a message to Steve Bruce. As a Villa season ticket holder for over 30 years, I would like to give him the respect he deserves for stabilising our club after a very toxic era. He worked miracles to get us to a promotion final while enduring huge personal sadness. He left a good base for the next manager to push on under new ownership. Thank you. So that's from Lee in Stourbridge. Do you keep an eye on all of your old clubs? I mean, I know there are a few of them.
There's a few of them, yeah. I think you do. I mean, what a fantastic football club that is, Aston Villa. And I take over. And sometimes, you know, you're pigeonholed in management. I do believe that you get a job when it's not going great. It seems to be the reason why I get them. And Aston Villa were going through I think they'd won something like 4 in 54 games. So it was a big challenge, and really, really enjoyable. But yeah, we nearly got there. But the takeover again of Aston Villa, that's transformed them into a different place and different situation. But another magnificent football club. Yeah,
I was lucky enough to be there. It's one of my biggest regrets, Steve, leaving Villa, because I was there just over a year and a bit. Ron Atkinson come in, shook me and said, agreed to deal with you at the Celtic, off you go. Basically that, but I remember...
it was a big club, big football club. Yeah, wonderful support, great supporters, and lovely club.
Yeah. You're getting a lot of love here, Steve.
Really? That's not easy. That's not. Wow. Well, did you hear going wrong out there?
Did you hear the surprise in my voice?
Now Wigan, we'll go to all 4 of your clubs. I've
got one here. Give this man the respect he deserves. A loyal servant of the game. And this is from an Arsenal supporter. Wow. Well done, Brucey. And Joe in Wigan says Steve was a great manager for Wigan. What are his thoughts on his time there? We'll get those thoughts in a moment or two, along with your thoughts on what happened at Newcastle. I saw your name, by the way. We talk about managerial jobs. I saw your name in the press being linked with South Korea and the management out there. I mean, you're not a lover of kimchi, are you?
North Korea, some would probably send me to.
North or South Shields.
It's amazing when you get these. You know, it's you get a phone call from an agent. You know the way it works, and all of a sudden, would you be interested in speaking to the people at the FA of South Korea? All of a sudden, it gets on the news and it goes everywhere. And you can't control it. What I have said is, you know, is international management maybe something that I would look at? Yes, I would do. And to be fair, South Korea have got a hell of a good team and all the rest of it. However, I believe they've appointed an interim manager until the summer. So I'm not against anything, but my missus might have something to say to me if I'm going to go to South Korea. But I've been once or twice before, and it's a wonderful city.
I've been to Seoul. It's a lovely city. You know, it's a great city. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Republic of Ireland.
Well, there was a time when I thought, well, why not? Why not? But I think they're obviously going to go down a different route by the looks of it. But who knows? You never know. They've just appointed an interim in Shazy as well, haven't they? Yeah. So let's see.
After the break, we'll be talking to Steve about his time at Newcastle.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.